On July 18th, 2019, Bushiroad announced a new multimedia trading card game project titled Rebirth For You. Produced by Nishi Asuka, the manga artist behind Bushiroad's card game Shioko graphic novel, Rebirth is the latest in a long line of new properties the company has tried to start up following its success with Vice Wars, Cardfight Vanguard, and Future Card Buddy Fight. And for that reason, it would be pretty easy to write off the series as dead on arrival. Bushiroad has not been able to replicate its success with Luck and Logic or with Dragonborn Rise to Supremacy, both of which folded after less than 2 years on the market. Even in Japan, where Vice Wars is the fourth most popular game around and niche trading card games like Battle Spirits, Wicross, and Zex continue to thrive, Bushiroad's handling of the popular Moncole license ended in financial disaster back in 2014, and their Chaos TCG set the world record for the longest-lived trading card game to finally die, closing down in December 2018 after almost a decade. So players and distributors are naturally skeptical of Bushiroad's attempt to push yet another TCG, especially when they still have to produce the Dominator trading card game that was kickstarted last year by Buddy Fight creator Ikeda Yoshimasa. There are a lot of games on the market. People are worried about saturation, they're worried about a lack of support, and they're afraid to invest. And that's valid. People should be skeptical. Trading card games are both a lifestyle and a business, and everyone is a broker. So why does Bushiroad think they can make fetch happen? Rebirth is actually not a new game. It is a remake of an older game called Victory Spark, and we know this because in its debut trailer, Bushiroad showed footage from Victory Spark tournaments. The playmat is the Victory Spark playmat with the deck, wait zone, and retire yard flipped, and during the presentation, Bushiroad's staff teased that it was an evolved form of a certain card game. The exact specifics are set to come out on September 18th in a presentation at the Chiyoda Science Museum. Until then, we won't know how much the rules have changed, what the setting of Rebirth will be like, or when the exact release dates are. We know that a short anime series about it will be airing in January with 12 main cast members. The first trial start deck will be coming out in March, the first booster set sometime shortly after that. For now, I want to focus on what was Victory Spark and why do they want it back. Victory Spark was designed by the creator of Duel Masters, Dimension Zero, and Vice Wars, Nakamura Satoshi. It originated with a 50th anniversary project between Weekly Shonen Sunday and Weekly Shonen Magazine, featuring manga characters battling it out. That game was called Sunday vs. Magazine Trading Card Game, and was initially themed around specific genres with different expansions featuring multiple works from the same genre. When it was relaunched as Victory Spark in January 2010, expansions instead tended to feature multiple properties from the same copyright owner. For example, when the series launched under the Sunday Versus branding, it had 3 starter decks focusing on mystery, sports, and romantic comedies, and the first booster pack was themed around mystery, rescue stories, and romance. When it relaunched as Victory Spark in October 2009, the first trial deck and booster pack were instead themed after Dengeki G magazine properties like Sister Princess and Marriage Royale, while the second trial deck and booster pack were based on Comic Blade magazine's Pavan for a Dead Girl and Elemental Jaleid. Subsequent expansions saw moderately bigger names get involved, like Sega with the Sakura Taizen series, Falcom with the East Games, Namco's Tales of Grace's F, and eventually Bushiroad's own Love Live property. However, the original game ended in August 2013, just as Cardfight Vanguard was entering the midpoint in its Link Joker block, and 2 months after Bushiroad announced Future Card Buddy Fight. This was right in the middle of what CEO Kidani Takaaki would later identify as a recession in the trading card game industry, and in this context we can actually see 2014's Luck and Logic as an attempt to replace Victory Spark in Bushiroad's product lineup. In light of the fact that Bushiroad's own character operating system, or Chaos TCG, finally went under last year, they probably want Victory Spark back to replace their missing revenue line. The rules of Victory Spark will feel somewhat familiar to players of Nakamura's other games. Both players have 1 character that battles in the ring and 3 characters that go on their bench that can be used to assist the characters in the ring, a bit like rearguards and vanguards in Cardfight. The game uses 5-card hands, and you start each turn by placing a card into the energy zone to act as a resource, like charging mana in Duel Masters. And also like in Duel Masters, any card can become energy. There are no dedicated land or energy cards like you'd find in Magic or Pokemon. To summon or move characters, you have to rest a number of energy equal to their level, but uniquely, if anything causes your current character to leave the ring, the top card of your deck is immediately placed into the ring to replace it. Many cards have entry spark effects in place of normal abilities that activate only when they're top decked into the ring, similar to shield triggers in Duel Masters or damage triggers in Vanguard. And also like in Vanguard, card effects can be automatic and resolve whenever they meet their timing, activated in the main phase, or continuously applied. The most important aspect of top decking cards into the ring is that you don't pay energy cost when placing a card in this way, and you don't have to lose a battle to do it either. You can put the top card down just by moving your current ring character to your bench in exchange for their cost and energy, so you always have a way of trying to get card advantage and a resource lead by playing around your option to top deck something. Like in Vanguard, there's only one universal card type. Everything is a character, so there's no risk of having some kind of instant or field or what have you becoming the ring character. The objective of the game is to defeat 10 of your opponent's characters, sending them to their retire yard, which is a bit like the damage zone in Vanguard, or an inversion of the shield mechanic in Duel Masters. Instead of removing cards that are protecting your opponent, you're damaging them by sending cards to the retire yard. How it works is that when you battle, your attack has to exceed your opponent's defense, and if it does, then they're sent to the yard. However, you don't attack by resting your ring character. Instead, your benched characters attack through them. You rest the benched card you're attacking with, and its power is added to your ring card. You can also stack damage from multiple attacks in the same turn to get the knockout. Additionally, most non-vanilla characters have a designated partner card, and if you attack with a benched character that is the corresponding partner of your ring card, that will form a partner attack that instantly defeats the opponent regardless of stats. This allows for decisive blows, but it's not as strong as it sounds, because Victory Spark has subclans, just like in Vanguard, where you need specific keywords for your effects to work, and most of the cards within a subclan share the same partner. Thus, it's common for games to revolve around getting the necessary partner card on your bench and attacking with it through multiple ring attackers across successive turns to score partner attacks and guarantee damage. However, removal effects can disrupt this strategy by getting rid of the partner card and making it much harder to hit. Further complicating things are cancels, abilities that work like counterspells in Magic, often having you discard the card with the cancel effect to block a specific type of ability like automatic or continuous, or an ability based on its keyword. To some degree, every deck in Versus can be a control deck. From the trailer, we know that they already changed the alignment of the retire yard and deck to match other trading card game zones, and it even seems like the retire yard may not be a full 10 cards now. One thing they could do to make the game easier to get into is streamline some of the less intuitive terminology, like turning waiting room into discard pile or drop zone, or renaming the retire yard to damage. That would make it easier to transition players in not just from Bushiroad's own games, but also from other companies' games like Final Fantasy TCG and Pokemon. Victory Spark also had some janky effects, like only targeting characters whose name is one Japanese character long, and in light of Bushiroad's current global focus, those kinds of things will probably not make it in. The first promotional card for Rebirth was also distributed at Bushiroad's conference, and clues us in about a number of game mechanics. The level icon is still present at the top and presumably functions the same as before. Attack and defense are also still at the top left and right sides of the card, but the power scale is now on Magic the Gathering's level, using ones instead of thousands as the basic unit. That means there probably won't be compatibility between Victory Spark and Rebirth like there was with Sunday Versus. Other than that, the name, title, and partner card fields seem to be intact, though it's difficult to read, but gender seems to no longer be a part of gameplay. Now, Sunday Versus Magazine TCG featured a lot of kids series icons like Detective Conan and Ashita no Jo, and was advertised as a game that could even be played between parents and children. Victory Spark, on the other hand, was anime. Very anime. More.
妹になんてことすんのよ。今あんた私の胸に触ろうとしたでしょ。
That much anime. For example, the first wave of support was for subclans based on the series Sister Princess, Marriage Royale, and Baby Princess, and revolved around the keywords Ani, Oni-chan, Imoto, and One-san. It was pandering to particular adult taste, not unlike a certain mermaid clan in Vanguard is known to do. We don't really know if Rebirth is going to follow in its footsteps, but there are some indications of how Bushiroad intends to handle the series. The first 4 characters introduced are all voiced by fairly new Japanese actresses. Wakamiya Chiharu is voiced by Nishimoto Rimi, who plays Uchigome Rimi in Bang Dream. Mino Shuko is voiced by Shindo Amane, who plays Kero in the Bermuda Triangle anime series. Okazaki Ikumi is voiced by Ozaki Yuka, who had roles both in the Luck and Logic anime and in Kemono Friends, and the character Higashiyama Yu, who seems to be the lead role, is voiced by Nishio Yuka, who is a complete newbie to the world of voice acting. The thing is that by presenting the game using only female presenters and an all-female cast, Bushiroad is either trying to appeal to the kind of otaku nerd that follows the voice acting and idol industry and buys all of these girls as merchandise, or they are shooting for a demographic of young women. It is interesting that all of the Rebirth promotional material so far has used white added colors, because in marketing, those kinds of tints are preferred for targeting a majority female consumer base, while shades are used when aiming at a primarily male block of customers. But the color black is almost completely absent from the official website. While Rebirth For You definitely sounds like the kind of maximum neckbeard game Victory Spark became, Bushiroad also seems to be putting some distance between Rebirth and VS, and emphasizing that its systems are based on the old game, not outright admitting that it's VS they're remaking. The company already has multiple games that fulfill the same niche. In addition to Love Live School Idol Collection, Vice Shores is more popular than ever in Japan, while Buddy Fight is getting Sword Art Online, Fate Grand Order, and Bang Dream crossover sets. And Bushiroad isn't the only game in town, as they're sharing the character TCG market with Broccoli's Lycée TCG. There is a limit to how much you can cannibalize one base of customers. New games live or die based on how well they pursue a big blue ocean strategy. If you can get people who have never played a trading card game before to sit down at the table and enjoy your game, then you're in the clear. But if that's not Bushiroad's goal here, then they're going to end up competing with their own products. And at the end of the day, we already know how that strategy plays out. One game gets sacrificed so the other can survive, because players can't reasonably stretch their budget and their time between so many different games and tournaments. Going the luck and logic route isn't sustainable, especially not when your core players are already eyeing other TCG metas and saying, "Oh gee, I'm gonna play Dragon Ball Super." We'll see where this goes in September. For now, this has been Toya. Thank you for joining me today. If you liked what you saw, please consider liking and subscribing to support the channel. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Pillow Fort at Towoya, Twitch at DecodeToya, and of course, right here at RPG Maniacs.